is no inception as such that can be known as being independent of the essence of mind. And yet to say that the inception of the rising of deluded thoughts is known means that it is known as existing on the ground of that which is beyond thoughts, i.e., the essence of mind. Accordingly, all ordinary people are said not to be enlightened because they have had a continuous stream of deluded thoughts and have never been freed from their thoughts. Therefore, they are said to be in a beginningless ignorance. If a man gains insight into that which is free from thoughts, then he knows how those thoughts which characterize the mind, i.e., deluded thoughts, arise, abide, change, and cease to be, for he is identical with that which is free from thoughts. But, in reality, no difference exists in the process of the actualization of enlightenment, because the four states, of arising, abiding, etc., exist simultaneously and each of them is not self-existent. They are originally of one and the same enlightenment, in that they are taking place on the ground of original enlightenment, as its phenomenal aspects. And, again, original enlightenment, when analyzed in relation to the defiled state, in the phenomenal order, presents itself as having two attributes. One is the purity of wisdom, and the other is the suprarational functions.
Purity of wisdom. By virtue of the permeation of the influence of dharma, i.e., the essence of mind or original enlightenment, a man comes to truly discipline himself and fulfills all expedient means of unfolding enlightenment. As a result, he breaks through the compound consciousness, i.e., the storehouse consciousness that contains both enlightenment and non-enlightenment, puts an end to the manifestation of the stream of deluded mind, and manifests the Dharmakaya, i.e., the essence of mind, for his wisdom. Becomes genuine and pure. What is the meaning of this? All modes of mind and consciousness under the state of non-enlightenment are the products of ignorance. Ignorance does not exist apart from enlightenment, therefore, it cannot be destroyed, because one cannot destroy something which does not really exist, and yet it cannot not be destroyed, insofar as it remains. This is like the relationship that exists between the water of the ocean, i.e., enlightenment, and its waves, i.e., modes of mind, stirred by the wind, i.e., ignorance. Water and wind are inseparable, but water is not mobile by nature, and if the wind stops the movement ceases. But the wet nature remains undestroyed. Likewise, man's mind, pure in its own nature, is stirred by the wind of ignorance. Both mind and ignorance have no particular forms of their own and they are inseparable. Yet mind is not mobile by nature, and if ignorance ceases, then the continuity of deluded activity ceases. But the essential nature of wisdom, i.e., the essence of mind, like the wet nature of the water, remains undestroyed.
Suprarational functions. He who has fully uncovered the original enlightenment is capable of creating all manner of excellent conditions because his wisdom is pure. The manifestation of his numberless excellent qualities is incessant, accommodating himself to the capacity of other men. He responds spontaneously, reveals himself in manifold ways, and benefits them. The characteristics of the essence of enlightenment. The characteristics of the essence of enlightenment have four great significances that are identical with those of empty space or that are analogous to those of a bright mirror. First, the essence of enlightenment is like a mirror which is really empty of images. It is free from all marks of objects of the mind and it has nothing to reveal in itself, for it does not reflect any images. Second, it is like a mirror influencing all men to advance toward enlightenment. That is to say, it is truly non-empty. Appearing in it are all the objects of the world which neither go out nor come in, which are neither lost nor destroyed. It is eternally abiding one mind. All things appear in it because all things are real. And none of the defiled things are able to defile it, for the essence of wisdom, i.e., original enlightenment, is unaffected by defilements, being furnished with an unsoiled quality in influencing all men to advance toward enlightenment. Third, it is like a mirror which is free from defiled objects reflected in it. This can be said because the non-empty state, of original enlightenment, is genuine, pure, and bright, being free from hindrances both affectional and intellectual, and transcending characteristics of that which is compounded, i.e., the storehouse consciousness. Fourth, it is like a mirror influencing a man to cultivate his capacity for goodness, serving as a coordinating cause to encourage him in his endeavors. Because the essence of enlightenment is free from defiled objects, it universally illumines the mind of man and induces him to cultivate his capacity for goodness, presenting itself in accordance with his desires, as a mirror presents his appearance.
B. The aspect of non-enlightenment. Because of not truly realizing oneness with suchness, there emerges an unenlightened mind and consequently, its thoughts. These thoughts do not have any validity to be substantiated, therefore, they are not independent of the original enlightenment. It is like the case of a man who has lost his way. He is confused because of his wrong sense of direction. If he is freed from the notion of direction altogether, then there will be no such thing as going astray. It is the same with men. Because of the notion of enlightenment, they are confused. But if they are freed from the fixed notion of enlightenment, then there will be no such thing as non-enlightenment. Because there are men of unenlightened, deluded mind, for them we speak of true enlightenment, knowing well what this relative term stands for. Independent of the unenlightened mind, there are no independent marks of true enlightenment itself that can be discussed. Because of its non-enlightened state, the deluded mind produces three aspects which are bound to non-enlightenment and are inseparable from it. First is the activity of ignorance. The agitation of mind, because of its non-enlightened state, is called activity. When enlightened, it is unagitated. When it is agitated, anxiety follows. For the result, anxiety is not independent of the cause, the agitation contingent upon ignorance. Second is the perceiving subject. Because of the agitation that breaks the original unity with suchness, there appears the perceiving subject. When unagitated, the mind is free from perceiving. Third is the world of objects. Because of the perceiving subject, the world of objects erroneously appears. Apart from the perceiving, there will be no world of objects. Conditioned by the incorrectly conceived world of objects, the deluded mind produces six aspects. First is the aspect of the discriminating intellect. Depending on the erroneously conceived world of objects, the mind develops the discrimination between liking and disliking. Second is the aspect of continuity. By virtue of the discriminating function of the intellect, the mind produces an awareness of pleasure and pain with regard to things in the world of objects. The mind, developing deluded thoughts and being bound to them, will continue uninterrupted.
Third is the aspect of attachment. Because of the continuity of deluded thoughts, the mind, superimposing its deluded thoughts on the world of objects and holding fast to the discriminations of liking and disliking, develops attachments to what it likes. Fourth is the aspect of the speculation on names and letters, i.e., concepts. On the basis of erroneous attachments, the deluded mind analyzes words which are provisional and therefore devoid of reality. Fifth is the aspect of giving rise to evil karma. Relying on names and letters, i.e., concepts which have no validity, the deluded mind investigates names and words and becomes attached to them, and creates manifold types of evil karma. Sixth is the aspect of anxiety attached to the effects of evil karma. Because of the law of karma, the deluded mind suffers the effects and will not be free. It should be understood that ignorance is able to produce all types of defiled states. All defiled states are aspects of non-enlightenment.
See the relationships between enlightenment and non-enlightenment. Two relationships exist between the enlightened and non-enlightened states. They are identity and non-identity. Identity. Just as pieces of various kinds of pottery are of the same nature in that they are made of clay, so the various magic-like manifestations of both enlightenment and non-enlightenment are aspects of the same essence, suchness. For this reason, it is said in a sutra that all sentient beings intrinsically abide in eternity and are entered into nirvana. The state of enlightenment is not something that is to be acquired by practice or to be created. In the end, it is unobtainable, for it is given from the beginning. Also, it has no corporeal aspect that can be perceived as such. Any corporeal aspects, such as the marks of the Buddha, that are visible are magic-like products of suchness manifested in accordance with the mentality of men in defilement. It is not, however, that these corporeal aspects which result from the suprarational functions of wisdom are of the nature